Hi Pimps, it is Tuesday, May 13th in the United States and Canada. This is a show called What Chaos presented by Prize Picks. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code What Chaos. Get $50 instantly when you play $5. Prize Picks, run your game in Boston, Massachusetts. My name is David B and I sit beside Pete Blackburn, and over across the room is Sean DePaz. Hey Sean.
Hey, howdy, hey. I have a surprise.
Uh-oh. What's all this then?
For somebody in particular.
Uh-oh.
This is not from me. It's from a whatnot. Pete.
Oh, boy. This is not the way that I expected this show to start.
I highly
Open
suggest...
it in a fashion that does not show up. Turn it. Do not show the fucking address.
Oh, boy.
I think you're going to realize quite quickly what it is. It is from Whatnot Austin.
Oh. Austin. It's a jersey.
Wait.
Oh, it's a signed jersey. It is... Oh, and Alex DeBrincat. It's the Alex DeBrincat.
It's the Alex DeBrincat jersey.
Yes. Oh, my God. This is unbelievable. Wow. I'm so sorry to all audio listeners. Holy shit.
I knew you would like this. It's from Austin. He was watching, obviously. If you don't watch our OT streams, during the last series, Pete had discussed getting a Senators jersey. He found a misspelled, autographed Alex DeBrincat jersey on eBay. One of our whatnots, Austin, went out of his way and he bought it.
Oh my God.
Sent it to me.
It is an absolutely monstrous misspelled Alex DeBrincat jersey. Was he number 12?
Hold on. Can I see? I mean, I assume everything here is wrong, but let me see this. There's like a little certificate of authenticity sticker thing to be like, this is a real item.
It's a real autograph.
It's an Alex DeBrincat.
It's the best.
He said he's been watching since 1K subs, and he loves that we aren't just a generic hockey show with boring ass interviews where players give regurgitated answers. I appreciate you guys more than you know. I hope the jersey can make the set one day.
Austin, buddy, Austin. This is going to be on the set, and then it's going to be in my house until the day I die.
It's hard to not frame. It's hard to not. You have to frame that and put it in your home office, I feel.
Yeah, probably something like that. I mean, this is one of the best gifts I've ever gotten in my life. Thank you so much, Austin. You are the best. And also, like, I know how much this cost.
Yeah,
because I was looking at it on eBay, and I was like, is this worth it? I am so happy.
Was it triple-digit dollars?
Yes.
I'll say it because it was public. I believe it was 119 or 120.
That's a good. I'm surprised you didn't pull trig.
I was really thinking about
price
it.
Point.
Yeah, I was really thinking about it.
So did I. Yeah, I believe he messaged me the next day and he said, "I got something for Pete," and then he sent me the order confirmation. And I was like, well. He's gonna like this.
This makes me so happy.
Amazing.
Yes, I'm so happy about this.
What big postseason for Pete.
Big gifts.
Yeah, he just needs some pads and skates, and he's good to go.
We got to get him like a full uniform. Like we should. Man, if we had the Seth Jones gloves, I constantly see like someone selling random hockey shorts from like former NHL players on Facebook Marketplace. Like we got to get a full used outfit.
Stick that's way too big, jersey that's is all wrong. This rules.
It's amazing.
Great job, Austin. Hell yeah.
I don't know why I didn't tell you because I've known about it for a while, but I was like, I want to keep it a complete surprise.
I kind of liked it better this way. I had no clue what that could be.
I'm gonna put it up right now.
What size is it?
It's a 54.
That's my size.
That's Sean.
Yeah.
Also, Sean, apologies to you. I did not realize that Kendrick Lamar was last night.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I didn't actually think I was going to go.
I wanted to get you to that show.
I know you did, which I appreciate, but it was a lot.
I ended up putting no effort into doing that because I didn't know that
It was so close. I honestly didn't realize it was last night either. I thought it was like firmly in the summer.
Same. And honestly, given what happened in Game 3 of that Oilers series, did you really want to go to a concert instead of seeing what went down last night?
Yeah.
You would have gone to that
I would have gone to the concert, but I'm not upset. At least if I didn't go to the concert, I got some good playoff hockey.
All right.
I went to see, I saw Friendship.
Oh, you did see Friendship.
A24 film. I saw Jason Tatum just lose his Achilles tendon. So big, exciting night for everybody.
Yeah. Tough.
Friendship, quick review. Hardest I've laughed in the theater in forever. However, it is so clearly inspired by I Think You Should Leave. And that's a good thing because like Tim Robinson can be the next 90s Adam Sandler, where it's just like do that character in a million different movies and we're going to love it because it's the best. But I kept waiting for like I Think You Should Leave music. And whenever someone who I've seen in I Think You Should Leave showed up, I thought it was I Think You Should Leave, but it rules. Everyone is going to love it. So check it out. Pete, tell the folks on the show today.
I would love to do just that. Today on the show, we're going to talk about Rod Brind'Amour because the Carolina Hurricanes are pretty boring. Allegedly. Allegedly.
We'll find out.
We're going to ask the question. We're also going to talk about the carpet is clean. The carpet is clean, and I don't know what that's about.
Damn.
I mean,
Sean's got to know.
I assume that has something to do with Stuart Skinner's clean sheet, but I don't.
Oh, no, but that's not bad. This is a reference to something Sean said yesterday.
The dog shits on the carpet.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, so kind of. Yeah.
But the carpet is clean. The carpet is clean because you got two dogs. One's
purebred,
and the other one
in the house.
is a mutt, and it shits in the house.
Yes.
The purebred did not shit last night.
Good.
That's right. Steve Peters is going to join us later in the show. We're going to talk about Canes and Oilers with our good friend Petey. Holland to the Kings. That could be a Ken Holland to the Kings reference, or it could be a reference to like what, the 1600s. I saw Jay Fresh.
Jay Fresh did that. Yeah. Someone responded. How are they getting there? By field. Great.
Very good behavior. And finally, we've got another Panther suspension, but this time the recipient might surprise you.
This one's a doozy.
This one is a doozy.
Shout out Aaron Ekblad that his suspensions are no longer doozies.
Yeah, I mean, he walked so that some of the men upstairs could run.
Okay. Well, after yesterday's show, I think everybody was waiting to see what was going to happen last night with Stu Skinner. We will talk plenty about that. And really, I thought that Chris Knobloch did a bang-up job as well. But let's begin with the team that I feel is having the easiest road to the Cup final without anyone really caring. And maybe it's because, as you hinted, maybe people find them boring based on the fact that they played the New Jersey Devils in the first round. But no team has had an easier time this postseason, I believe, Peter, than the Carolina Hurricanes, who find themselves up 3-1 on the top-seeded Washington Capitals.
Yeah, I mean, easiest road so far, depending on who they get next round and what the Florida Panthers look like. Could be the road could start getting a little shaky. But yeah, I mean, my big takeaway with the Canes right now is that everybody's calling them boring, but I don't really know how much of that is their fault. Because yeah, they played, none of their playoffs has been interesting so far, but I think a lot of that kind of reflects on who they've played.
Devils,
like the Devils were dead. Yeah. They didn't have a bottom six. They were so banged up. And now they're playing a Washington team that, like, for at least half the series has been kind of trash.
Yeah, but I think that they make the games I was going to say they make the games boring, which is what you want to do, but they, in the first 2 minutes of that game last night, give up a partial break to Protas that he hits the post.
Yeah.
That puck goes in, suddenly we're off to the races, and maybe we end up talking about this being a 2-2 series anyway. But, like, is it the Hurricanes' fault that post is hit? Is it the Hurricanes' fault that after that, they do what they do. They end up taking the 2-0 lead, shut out our guy Taylor Hall, gets what is kind of the dagger in the third period, although it ends up getting close on that 5-on-3. This is a team that just doesn't let teams score goals. They have the best goals against in the postseason. Freddy Andersen has been awesome. They have allowed one 5-on-5 goal in the last 2 games. So I ask, is that the Hurricanes being boring, or is that the Caps being maybe lowercase f fraud-ass pumpkins?
Well, I mean, I think it's a little bit of in column A and a little bit in column B, because like that's how the Hurricanes play. It's hard to score goals against them when they don't let you have the puck. And they have spent the entire postseason basically just firing it on net, winning every puck battle, dumping in deep, prying the puck away, and not letting the other team have the puck, which is definitely a credit to the Carolina Hurricanes. So good for them. But also, like, Washington hasn't done a very good job converting on their opportunities. They shot very, very high during the regular season in terms of shooting percentage. That has come back down to earth. And it seems like they might be dead in the water because of that. So, like, I'm not going to say that the Hurricanes are boring, because, like, this is exactly the way that they want to play. Is it the most exciting to watch? Definitely not.
I feel, though, that people early in the season, even before they got Rantanen, were buying stocks on this Hurricanes team that was supposed to be in a bridge-ish year. And I don't know if people sold those stocks or what, but they definitely just kind of, it's just like sitting in their portfolio and no one's really thinking about it. And meanwhile, as we're all excited by what Rantanen is doing in Dallas and by what's happening again with the Oilers, and I don't know, is there anything else particular? Like the Leafs and the Panthers, I think just kind of like ho-hum, Hurricanes are cruising to the Eastern Conference Final, and depending on who they play, like they could at the very least hang against either of those teams. Like, I don't know if they'd be favored against Florida, but I think that they could beat either of those two teams. So I just think that I hate to use the term underrated. I hate to say that we're sleeping on them, but
well, I mean, some people are literally sleeping on them.
Right. Like we are taking their games not being particularly exciting and putting it against them, when the reality of the situation is this is a team that needed double overtime to lose a game at all in the first round. And now they've got the best team in the Eastern Conference during the regular season on the mat.
Yeah, and I mean, Freddy Andersen looks really, really good, and that's a credit to Freddy. And like, if they're holding the puck against you for 80% of the game, and also their goalie is unbelievable, probably gonna have a hard time beating them. But I want to see them do it against a team that I can like fully respect, and the Capitals have not fully earned my respect during these playoffs. Even during the Montreal series, they kind of made things interesting. When they run into Florida, I'm going to crown Florida already. And when they run into Florida, that is going to be the test. And like the reason that like people quote unquote sleep on the Hurricanes is they've got a little bit of like the regular season fatigue to them, where it's like, okay, call me when they get over the hump in the playoffs. And once again, they might be in a position where they run into a very tough opponent that kind of exposes their system in an Eastern Conference final.
Okay, so what I took from that, very interesting. You think, and I'm doing this court style, so you think they haven't been properly tested yet?
Properly tested, yes.
That, I think, is a commentary on the Capitals. That is kind of an admission
look at game 2.
or an acknowledgement that they're a little fraud-ass pumpkin-y, which is fine. Like, I loved the Capitals this season, had an absolute blast with them. They were everything I hoped they would be and more, but by the time the postseason came around, just didn't feel amazing about them. And I kind of do agree with you that they have not been the greatest challenge for the Hurricane. Like, look at the series that right now in the West is 3-1. Really, Vegas has been the better team in 2 of those games. Oilers have been the best team in 2 of those games. In this series, there hasn't been much of the series where I'm like, Washington's got that ass.
No, definitely not. Game 2 is the only game where like you were like, okay, wow, great effort from Washington. Game 1, basically a no-show. And then in the 2 games,
Game 3 not close.
The 2 games, well, Game 3 they kind of followed the same script as Game 4, which is they came out strong. They didn't really get anything to show for it, and then they kind of packed it in, or they either packed it in or they just got worn down by the Hurricanes, which the Hurricanes can definitely do that to you. But either way, you didn't get a strong 60-minute effort, and by the end of the game, you were like, all right, enough of this shit. Obviously, Carolina's the better team here.
The thing that you're on the lookout for with the Hurricanes, not a lot of adversity this postseason.
No.
Not really punched in the mouth. Not how are they going to respond to blank. I mean, there was the 5 minutes when they didn't have Freddy Andersen, but other than that, how are they going to react when they have their first lose 2 games in a row? Something like that. It has been really easy for them.
And now that I've kind of like externalized it, I feel like maybe I've kind of come to the conclusion that we're all kind of sick of the Hurricanes by the end of like every game the Hurricanes play. You're ready for it to be over because you've already found out that that's the better team. That's kind of the way that this entire postseason has gone, which like that should not be a derogatory statement against the Hurricanes, but it's just not interesting to watch. By like when you're in the 3rd period, you're like, all right, this game's fucking over.
If you want to watch games, I say you go to them. Vivid seats. That's how I'm getting there. Best time to be in the arena is now. Best way to get the tickets, Vivid Seats. I'm talking about for any live event. They got the best selection of games and seats, and every purchase is backed by their 100% buyer guarantee. Plus, Vivid Seats is the only ticket marketplace that rewards you for every purchase. So download the Vivid Seats app and start earning rewards towards free tickets. New Vivid Seats users who use promo code CHAOS30 will receive $30 off their first purchase of $300 or more. Once again, click the link in the show notes, go to vividseats.com or download the Vivid Seats app and use promo code CHAOS30 for $30 off your first purchase of $300 or more. When it comes to playoff hockey, being there is all that matters, so experience it live with Vivid Seats.
Shady Rays today, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. Just wanted to make sure. Today's episode is brought to you by our friends at Shady Rays. The sun is out and the weather is great, at least up here in the Northeast this week. So if you're getting outside and you're battling the allergies, you might lose the battle against the allergies. I'm getting killed.
I don't know why this is not related. I've been having to fight the urge to, whenever I say that I'm in hell, to refer to it as being in cap hell. So I was very close to being like, I've been in absolute cap hell recently with my allergies.
I like that.
And I think I'm just going to start doing it. But I have been in absolute hell with my allergies.
We should start calling things like cap hell and then refer to jail as like the cap jail of crime.
Well, when the allergies let up, then you get to say, well, the cap's going up.
Yeah, cap's going up.
I'm in cap hell, but the cap's going up. But if you want to protect your eyes while you're outside, you may lose to the allergies, but you will not lose to the sun if you invest in some Shady Rays, because Shady Rays has got you covered with quality shades built to last. They won't break the bank, and they're premium polarized shades, and they are rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people. We're talking durable frames, crystal clear optics, and the perfect choice for all outdoor adventures. And if you want to be a stylish guy or gal this summer, you've got hundreds of options to choose from. You can even find a pair that matches your team's favorite colors. We all wear Shady Rays here. We all love them. DJ especially loves them because he is very irresponsible with his Shady Rays, but it doesn't matter because they have the best return and replacement policy in all of eyewear. You can exchange a new pair or return worry-free within 30 days, and there's no risk when you shop. Their team always has you covered with personal and fast support. So exclusively for our listeners, Shady Rays is giving out their best deal of the season. Head to shadyrays.com and use code AC35 for 35% off polarized sunglasses. Try for yourself the shades rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people.
A change occurred in the hockey world last night. A big change. Do you know what that change was?
An executive for the Florida Panthers got suspended.
This has something to do with Stuart Skinner, but I'm going to make it more about Connor Hellebuck.
Ooh.
Connor Hellebuck, you know, have the worst postseason save percentage. Stuart Skinner has surpassed you. That man is moving on up, and oh my God, Connor Hellebuck, that stinks for you. But we spent a lot.
Are you talking active goalies or all goalies?
This postseason, all goalies
Yikes.
who have played like more than 15 seconds, Connor Hellebuck has the worst save percentage.
Not great.
And Skinner was there, and you understood why he was there, because usually when the team shot the puck, not usually, let's be fair, but very frequently when a team shot the puck against him, it went in. And we talked yesterday about, can the Oilers win with Stuart Skinner? And I was just hoping, I was just praying he could look something like what he looked like last year. And I told you all about how he struggled the beginning of the postseason last year, got sat down, came back, and then was off to the races. Was great down the stretch and nearly won the Stanley Cup. I said, just give me 2/3 of what we saw down the stretch last year. And now, folks, this is the Stuart Skinner experience. Did you bet the over on Golden Knights goals again yesterday?
I did not.
That's no one puck.
Yeah.
I did not really touch anything.
Didn't touch anything.
I thought the Leon Draisaitl was going to go off because I saw that he was basically put on a fourth line, and I was confused by that. And I was like, okay, whatever. Hockey's weird. But big takeaway as the Oilers take a 3-1 series lead on the Golden Knights in a series that really could be 2-2. Now it's 3-1.
I mean,
and they do it with a Stu Skinner shutout.
It could also be 4-0. This series could be over.
No, I thought everything that happened at the end of Game 3 was just, and that was just normal hockey, and that's just going to happen from time to time.
I mean, this was the perfect example of how quickly things can change in the postseason, because yesterday afternoon felt like we had the energy of like, the Oilers might be fucking dead here. They might be toast. And then like 10 hours later, they have the perfect bounce back game in which you say, I've seen all I needed to see to have faith in this team again. Edmonton Oilers, you're headed for a Stanley Cup final.
You know what I realized, Peter? And I'm going to try to be as Merrick-esque as I can be here, and I'll do a bad job. But we often ask the question, what do the Oilers need goaltending-wise? What kind of goaltending do they need? Do they need 900 goaltending? Do they need 890 goaltending? Do they need good? Do they need great? Do they need average? Do they need above average? Can they even get by with bad? And I realized what the answer was last night. The goaltending that the Oilers need, the answer to that question is great for all we know. For all we know is the most important thing, which is that I'm not totally positive because he wasn't really under siege. He needed to make like 3 big saves and he made them. And then he needed to make like 4 normal saves and he made those. And I know I've only given you 7 plays on which the goaltender mattered, but let's keep that number right around 7. And if we go 7 for 7, you got a stew going.
Right. Yeah. I mean, like the best thing that you could hope for is an incomplete grade in net for the Edmonton Oilers.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
Not totally knowing how good Stu was, but I wanted that out of Calvin Pickard.
It's pass-fail.
Pass-fail,
And
Sean.
it's even better when the team in front of him allows that to be a question for 60 minutes versus for 30 to 40 minutes, because so often they've let goaltending have an impact on games, and then they say, all right, let's make sure that he doesn't have to make saves for the second half of this game, and we will come back and win. And when they do it for 60 minutes, you're like, damn, nobody's beating those guys.
Okay, so was last night a nobody's beating those guys game for the Oilers?
Yes, but in the context of like what you didn't get from the Oilers in last night's game, which was like a Draisaitl McDavid game. Like you won without your best thing showing up and your worst thing showing up.
Can I give you a take on that?
Go ahead.
I famously do my 3 stars after the games. I feel that I owe Leon Draisaitl an apology because I thought that was Leon Draisaitl's best game of the series. His job, and here's where I say Chris Knobloch might be back, Leon Draisaitl was given Vasily Podkolzin and welcome back to the lineup / the NHL / my life. I'd forgotten you existed. Respectfully, but also derogatorily, because I shouldn't be thinking about Kasperi Kapanen. Mm-hmm. Those were his line mates, Vasily Podkolzin and Kasperi Kapanen. That line played against the Jack Eichel and Mark Stone line the entire night and fucking inhaled them. They killed Mark Stone and Jack Eichel. Kasperi Kapanen was, I don't even know, a missile, just flying around destroying guys. And this is the benefit, I guess, of having McDavid and Draisaitl, that if you split them up, which I usually want to do, you can make one of them a fucking checking line for some reason. But I'll tell you what, I don't know if people are going to react to it the way they usually do in the postseason, but if Leon Draisaitl wants to have his Selke talk in the future, more games like that, and people are going to be like, oh, well, actually, Leon Draisaitl is actually a very good second. And he's going to end up getting Selke votes. Didn't score a goal last night. That's fine. I'm going to get to that in a second. But I thought that was like, that might have been my biggest non-Stu Skinner takeaway, other than Aiden Hill possibly trying methamphetamine before the game.
I mean, yeah, it's a good point, and like that is the what you need from Leon if he's not going to be like scoring Leon and the driving Leon that you've come to expect. But also, like, they still won a game without their strongest asset showing up, which is two guys that can just completely take over a game. You won on the back of Adam Henrique offensively. You won on the back of Evander Kane offensively, and your worst asset, which is your defense and your goaltending, looked totally fine.
Yeah.
Totally fine. Defense, I would say, was great. Goaltending was rock solid. And that's all you need.
Can I trouble you for like a minute on Evander Kane? I just want your thoughts on Evander Kane, because mine were definitely, I'm not expecting much, and I'm worried that at some point they're going to think, oh, it's okay, Evander Kane will solve all this, and he won't.
Yeah, I mean, that was kind of the energy that I had heading into the playoffs with both him and Trent Frederick, where it was like, you don't know what these guys are. Why are you falling back on, well, we're going to get these guys back, and they're going to change the identity of our team and give us the element that we need in terms of playoff hockey? I had no idea what to expect for Evander Kane, and I feel like anybody who says that they did have an idea or did have confidence is either wrong or stupid. Like, that guy is coming off of at least two, right? Like, major surgeries. The first surgery fixed like a bunch of different things. Second surgery was a knee surgery. You hadn't seen him in a year. It's playoff hockey. You're talking about Chris Knobloch, who all season long was just constantly throwing his lines in a blender. And so, like, whether Evander Kane hit with a couple of guys, he probably wouldn't be playing with those guys the next night anyway. So not knowing what to expect from him, I think, was completely fair. But he has been great in both of these series so far.
Okay, I'm going to do a little trivia for you. Most teams this postseason, most of the playoff teams remaining, of which there are 8, have either 4 or 5 players who have scored 3 goals this postseason. Okay, got it? So you take the average team, it's got 4 guys who have scored 3, or it's got 5 guys who have scored 3. Only 2 teams have a different number than 4 or 5 3-goal scorers. How many players on the Edmonton Oilers have scored 3 goals this postseason?
7.
I was going to say 8.
You would both be underestimating. The answer is Julianne Morevoice.
9.
9 players have scored 3 goals for the Oilers who have played 10 games this postseason.
That is a crazy stat.
Corey Perry has 5. Leon Draisaitl has 5. Evander Kane has 4. Connor Brown, of course, has 4. What's that?
Goat.
Evan Bouchard has 4. Adam Henrique, of course, has 3. Zach Hyman has 3. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins has 3. There's one more guy at the bottom of that list, which is, oh yes, Connor McDavid has 3. Boys, it's one thing to be the best offensive team this postseason, which I think we all thought the Oilers would have to be if we were still going to be talking about them on Tuesday, May 13th in the United States and Canada. But for it to be happening, thanks to Evander Kane and Connor Brown, who respectfully, or in fairness, we probably should have expected this from Connor Brown, but Adam Henrique was not having a good year. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, even until late in the season, was not having a good year. This is balanced, boys. And if the defense is going to play the way it was last night, and if Stu Skinner is going to play the way he played last night, which again, he was great for all we know, then You got great things coming. Sean, you guessed 7. The Panthers have 7. Florida, Dallas has 4. Winnipeg has 4. Toronto has 4. Winnipeg has 5. Washington has 5. Carolina has 5. Vegas has 5. So it's great things that you're seeing. Last thing I wanted to note there. Here's my little theory on Stu last night. He gets better over the course of series, right? We know this about him. He's usually
historically.
He's usually starting. Did you see the stat after the game that he's the greatest historically he's the best game 4 goaltender ever?
Congrats.
Yeah, it was they had like goals against, save percentage and everything, like all time, like the best game 4 goalie ever, which I love the idea of being Mr. Game 4.
Got to acquire that guy to secure your game 4s.
Because part of why he's so good in game 4 is because he was about to get fucking swept in the Stanley Cup final last year. So he had
get fired.
Right. Yeah. He was about to lose his job. So he had a kind of job-saving performance. And then anyway, he gets better over over the course of these series.
Didn't in series 1.
What do you mean?
He did not get better over the course of series 1.
He didn't play over the course.
Exactly.
Right. So that's what I'm saying.
Yes.
He gets pulled after 2 games, so we don't get to see him get better. They put him in game 3 this series, and he says, I see what you're trying to do. You're trying to skip the beginning of the series. Game 3 is still kind of halfway through the series, so I'm going to get all the shit out. I'm going to retroactively kind of...
I got to make up for lost time.
Make up for lost time, load all the bad shit into there. So he has an 833 save percentage in that game. Then turn the page to game 4. How about a clean 1,000? But last year before being shut down, 877 save percentage in 8 games. After returning, 914 in 15 games. This year before being shut down, 810 in 2 games. After returning, granted, small sample size, 915 in 2 games. Proof is in the pudding. Stu Skinner is back. Championship. Let's bring on Steve Peters from inside the coach's room, the longtime video coach of the Arizona Coyotes, and really just the media darling of the 2025 NHL postseason. How are you, my friend?
Yeah, I'm doing really well, and I'm enjoying the show. As always, I kind of forgot I was coming on to talk. So you guys distracted me with all the excitement and chaos, and I'm glad to be here. Thanks.
Okay.
I call him Stevie Slutstrands.
Yeah, you do have Slutstrands going. Do you know this?
I know. I do. I apologize. I'm 57 years old, reliving my youth, and it's kind of getting a little bit out of control. So
it looks good,
is
brother.
what it is until playoffs are over. This is it. Do
we
what
don't
I can.
Strand shame. No, they look very good. Okay, you said last time you were on, I believe, that at some point Calvin Pickard needed to leave the crease, Stu Skinner needed to take over, and that is how the Oilers would win this series. The work has been shown in maybe a kind of hectic way, but you've gotten the right answer so far. How do you feel after seeing it be injury that forces Stu Skinner to come in and what he has been in these 2 games?
Honestly, and this is going to sound terrible to Pickard fans, this is exactly what the Edmonton Oilers needed. And you couldn't replace Pickard, and I know it sounds terrible, but you couldn't replace Pickard while he's still winning. You can't. You're unable to replace him. And I said this before, Skinner's got the swagger. Skinner's been there. He's played in this Cup Finals. If you are going to get there, you can't get there on a guy that's perennially under 900 in save percentage. I know Pickard was the darling. I know guys love him. He is a fantastic teammate, and he was here in Arizona. He is a wonderful human being. He is great, and I hate to say anything negative about him, but if you're going to get there, and I mean get there, to the Stanley Cup Finals and have an opportunity to win the Stanley Cup Finals, it's got to be under a big monster like Stuart Skinner. And I don't think you're going to replace him otherwise without the injury. And Skinner was great. And he brought up the numbers, and I know he didn't have a lot of work last night, but you can say that first period where he ends up making 3 pretty big saves, the Barbashev one in the first 5 minutes, that can change the complexion of this game. And all you've ever asked from Stu Skinner as an Edmonton Oilers fan is stop the shots you're supposed to shot. That's it. Stop the ones you're supposed to save, and you're going to be okay. Just be good. And I think the Oilers are scoring at a horrific rate right now. Like they're 4 goals a game. Like you just need Stu Skinner to be okay. And guess what? He was better than okay. I think it's a fantastic sign for the Edmonton Oilers going forward in this playoffs.
Do you think that this series is secure, we'll say?
I mean, you never know. Like the one thing about the Vegas Golden Knights, I don't think they have looked like the Vegas Golden Knights yet that you saw in the regular season. I think this team has struggled to generate offense. I don't think they've had the ability to get stops on the forecheck. I don't think they've had the power play looks. This is a team that was top 3 in the power play in the National Hockey League this year, and mostly because of Eichel. Michael's struggling. I mean, he's got no goals in this series, and he has got to be the guy that drives this offense. I don't think you've seen the best of the Vegas Golden Knights yet. But yeah, I do think this is too late for them. I think Edmonton, you can't punch their ticket yet because you never know. But they're looking like the much better team in the series. And I say this coming into game 1, again, I always look at paper and video. That's what I do. When I said coming into game 1, I thought Vegas looked like they were going to be the better team coming into this. I don't think Edmonton looked like they're looking now. This Edmonton Oilers team right now isn't the McDavid-Draisaitl team anymore. And by saying that, I mean, they're still great players and doing great things, but it's not just them. And this team is deeper than they've ever been. They're more physical than they've ever been. They're getting under the skin of their opponents more than they normally do. They're doing very un-Edmonton Oiler-like things. And I think that's a good sign as you're trying to limit this down from 8 teams down to 4.
I also think, like, tell me if you think I'm right here. I feel like we haven't seen the Oilers at their best yet. Like, they've got here in a very, very rocky fashion with a lot of instability, and things have constantly been twisting and turning. I don't think they've looked their best to this point.
Yeah, for sure. And go to last night's game is a perfect example. Edmonton Oilers beat Vegas 3-0 and shut them out. And it wasn't because of their high tempo speed game between the blue lines. They were advancing puck through zones and they were flying and getting these rush chances off of Aiden Hill on odd man rushes. That's not how they won. This team defended better. The shots are 15-5 in the first period. They held the Vegas Golden Knights to 5 shots in a first period where Vegas needs to win. That's impressive. And they defended better as a group of 5 than this Edmonton Oilers team has done in an incredibly long time, where you felt like, oh my gosh, like they are not allowing Vegas to get to the blue paint. They're defending through the blue lines. They didn't give Vegas rush opportunities. Like, this defensive style of the Edmonton Oilers is what won the game. It wasn't the back of the speedy McDavid and Draisaitl blowing it by the goaltender. It wasn't the way they normally win. They won some way differently. And again, if a team can win, I think you need to defend to win. I do. And Edmonton's usually we can win 5-4, 6-5, 6-4, and we'll be fine. This is a game they went 3-0, and not just because their goaltender was elite and they stole it because of the goaltender being outstanding. They defended extremely well. They didn't allow Vegas to get to the inside. They didn't allow them to get to the blue paint. This was a great defensive job by the Edmonton Oilers. And again, that's something they normally don't do. So it checks a box that should push them through to the next round.
How did you feel when you saw that they were taking Arvidsson out and it's Kapanen going in instead of Jeff Skinner? I understood on the back end putting Stetcher in for Emberson because they were talking about wanting to be faster, and I love Emberson, but he's just the slowest guy in the world. It's adorable. I hated the idea of taking someone out and not putting Jeff Skinner in, but the impact it had was immense.
Yeah, you talk about, and I've always said this about coaching, it's the decisions you make in playoffs that make you a better coach. It's games 1 through 82, you're a cheerleader, and you rely on injuries in 3 games and 4 nights, and so many things play into it. But when game 83 starts, that's when you become a coach. And these player decisions worked out phenomenally. I guess you never know until you do it. I really like Troy Stetcher. I think he's a guy that can use his feet to evade. He's not a big guy, but he can use his feet to get out of trouble, and he moves the puck quickly, and it helps them get out of their zone. I think that was a good move. But up front, and not just the addition of Kapanen, who I thought brought something to the game that none of us expected, clearly. But I think the separation of the lines and what he did at the morning skate and kind of playing a little bit of possum on, hey, what are we really going to do here? I think that's a little bit of gamesmanship. And I think that Vegas is going, yeah, they're not doing anything. They're not doing that. They're not doing that for real. But what they did. And it wasn't just splitting up McDavid and Draisaitl, which I think they need to do as much as they can during the playoffs. I think you can stack those guys up when you need to in the third period, but I don't think you can do it consistently for a 60-minute game. But what the bottom 6 did for this game changed the complexion of the game. That third line with Henrik, Kane, and Brown were phenomenal, and not just because they scored, but because they did the little things right. They spent more time in the offensive zone. They were more physical. They were tougher along the wall. And if you don't think they got under the skin of goaltender Aiden Hill, buddy, I don't know if I've ever seen Hill act like that. Like, that was from the drop of the puck. And here's the thing. I don't know if Aiden Hill can play like that. I don't know if that boosts him up to, hey, and some goalies do play better when they're pushed and they're backed against the wall and they're playing a little bit with that edge. Some goalies can play that way. I don't think Adin Hill's that guy. I think he's better when he's calmer and staying inside the blue paint and keeping everything within him. And I don't think that was his best performance. I mean, he had some big saves. He did. But I think what the Edmonton Oilers do by splitting up this line is now you've got a 4-line attack and legit 4-line attack that plays a little bit different styles, more than what you're accustomed to with seeing with Edmonton. It's a 1-line team. We're throwing out 29 and 97 and we're going to beat you 5-4. They didn't. They split everybody up. They defended well in the bottom six, but they also generated offense from the bottom six. This, again, I keep saying this, the Oilers fans should be excited. This is a deep team that's not relying on two players that's getting scoring for secondary scoring, and they're the bigger agitator and the more physical team right now against the Vegas Golden Knights. And I didn't expect to see that.
Yeah, I mean, the Adin Hill thing was kind of wild to me. He seems like the guy who kind of laughs and chuckles in between whistles. And he was out for blood last night.
We were texting about it because yesterday we made the comparison of Stu Skinner plays like Tim Thomas, which is not always a good thing. Like there's one Tim Thomas for a reason, but Skinner plays like Tim Thomas, and Adin Hill last night was Tim Thomas without the performance. He was just losing his mind anytime anybody got anywhere near him. That second Henrique goal ruled, where Evander Kane is cross-checked into him. He gives up a goal, doesn't give a fuck about the fact that he gave up a goal, and is like, I'm going to kill this guy.
Yeah.
Sweet, man.
I did want to shift gears. Everybody's decided that the Carolina Hurricanes are boring and not worth the time this postseason. Do you think the Hurricanes are boring?
Yeah, I really do. And I hate to say that too, but here's the truth with the Carolina Hurricanes. This is the way the Carolina Hurricanes have to play to win. They have to defend extremely well, which they have done. Their defending in this series is elite, and 5-on-5 and on the penalty kill. They smother teams and they don't allow their opponents to get offensive opportunities. People watching on TV want to see offense. They want to see the best players getting offensive opportunities on both sides of the ice. It makes the game more fun. It's the elite players in the Vegas Edmonton series that you want to see perform well. The problem with Carolina is they shut down the top players of the opponent. And I know you've said the series they've had in New Jersey and Washington, they weren't glamorous series to begin with. New Jersey didn't have their top offensive players in that series, and Washington's top offensive player, Alex Ovechkin, isn't getting as much ice time because he doesn't defend as well, and you can only use him in situations where you're looking for offense. Having said all of those things, they defend well, which is boring, because they don't allow the opponents to get offensive opportunities either on the rush or 5-on-5. But on the flip side of that, they don't have that guy. They don't have the McDavid. They don't have the guys that are going to be glamorous on the offensive side of the puck either. They don't have those guys that, Reinhart, they're going to make the flashy goal. Sebastian Aho and Svechnikov, really good players, but they're not dynamic offensively. And so when you put a team that's incredibly good defensively with a team that spreads out their offense and isn't incredibly dynamic offensively, it's going to bring you a boring brand of hockey. But to the coach's credit, that's what they have to play. That's the hand he's been dealt in the players that he has. So that's the style you're going to get with the Carolina Hurricanes.
Even if they did have those kind of guys, I don't know if they'd be put in that position to showcase flash just based off of they funnel everything to the net no matter where they are in the offensive zone. And they hope that it turns into an ugly goal, when a lot of the times it does. But that's just how they play. I guess my question off of that would be, with the way things have gone in this series, are you more impressed by Carolina or are you more disappointed in Washington?
I thought Washington was going to be better. And I thought that one of the things Washington Capitals had throughout this regular season was the ability to spread their scoring. Dylan Strome had a great season. Protas gets 30 goals, and he's back in the lineup. And I thought they were going to find the secondary scoring with Tom Wilson. And Tom Wilson, by the way, has been the MVP for the Washington Capitals in this playoffs, both physically and offensively. And I thought they were going to do it with Connor McMichael. And I thought they were going to have enough speed that they were going to be able to have secondary scoring and generate against Carolina, and they just can't. And that's scary if you're going to have to play Carolina further on in this playoffs, because their ability to defend against some guys that can play and guys that can put up those kind of numbers. So yeah, I was expecting more out of the Washington Capitals. This is Carolina. This is what they do. This is what they did games 1 through 82. They're going to do it games 83. They're not changing. This is their style. If they are going to win and continue on in this playoffs, it's going to be by smothering teams in all three zones. The problem is that they are so quick on pucks. They use their feet and they're so aggressive in all three zones. That's hard to do. And it's hard to do day after day in these competitive playoffs where you're getting into ramping up. And the next round is going to get more physical if they play Florida specifically. And it's hard. It's hard to be quicker on pucks with teams that are playing the exact same way. So this Eastern Conference is a long way from being over. I do think Carolina puts Washington behind them and off to the next round in the Eastern Conference.
You mentioned Florida. There's a 3-game series going on between them and the Leafs. And it's tough to call it a 3-game series when you know that game 7, like, the Leafs aren't going to win a game 7. I think we just all know that. So I feel like now's their up. Like, they just got to win these next 2.
I mean, this series doesn't even feel tied, though. Like, I feel like I'm being disrespectful by saying that. Florida showed up in game 4 to a degree that makes me feel like they are firmly in the driver's seat in what is a tied series.
I know that Eichel said the other day that, like, momentum isn't a thing. Maybe it's not, or maybe it's a case-by-case basis thing, but momentum's a fucking thing because Florida's going to win that series based on what's happened the last 2 games. Do you agree?
Without a doubt, and I'm going to tell you something about momentum, because I know I worked for Arizona. They didn't hoist the cup. I got it. But we definitely played in playoff games, and I was there with the team in playoff hotels. Dude, it makes a huge difference if you win a game and as that momentum carries on for the next 48 hours. It's huge. Changes your preparation. It changes the way you feel mentally, and it changes the way you approach the next game. Without a doubt, momentum exists. To say it doesn't, come on, really? Look at this playoffs. Look at this playoffs with the Florida Panthers right now. That Florida Panther team, they get through in game 3, and I thought they were okay. I thought there were glimpses of what you wanted to see Florida do, a defenseman pinching, hard on the forward check, starting to clog up the neutral zone a little bit better. But game 4, that was the Florida Panthers. And that was the first time the Florida Panthers showed up in this series. They were all over Tampa Bay in the first series of this playoffs, playing like that every single day. The Toronto Maple Leafs saw the real Florida Panthers in game 4. That was the first time they showed up and go, okay, this is it. We're ready to start rolling. If they continue that, they're unstoppable. And I said that from game 1 against Tampa Bay. If they play like that all the time, because what we said about Carolina and smothering and defending and being tough in the neutral zone and good sticks on the penalty kill, Florida does that, but Florida has the offensive dynamics to get to the front of the net, to get to the little paint, that can bring the offense as well. So they're Carolina, but better. So I do think Toronto's in trouble, and they're starting to be drug into the muddy game and the physical game and the penalties after the whistle game. That plays better for Florida and not Toronto. So as this series goes on right now, this is a huge momentum shift as the Florida Panthers roll into game 5.
Enormous swing game tonight in Dallas. Must win, absolutely, for the Jets, but does this series, even at 2-1, feel like it's so firmly in Dallas's grasp that you can't see Winnipeg coming out of it?
This series is different because when you watch the Dallas Stars against Colorado Avalanche, I still say this. I think Colorado is the best team in the West coming into the playoffs, and I still hold to that as they're golfing right now. The Dallas Stars had one player that carried them through that first series, and it was Mikko Rantanen. This team continually gets better. I think that Jason Robertson still hasn't shown up in this series. He's got no goals yet, and he's still fighting off some of the injury that he had late in the season. And I don't think he's been at his best, but I think he'll get better. The big factor in this series is, can they get Miro Heiskanen back? And I think they do. And it doesn't mean just for this series. It means what happens next. I think Dallas is the better team right now. I still think the Winnipeg Jets right now have to find a way to defend, and it's been a problem. And I know a lot of fingers get pointed to Hellebuck, but this team isn't defending like they did 1 through 82. And they're not rolling their lines like they did 1 through 82. They're not generating that offense getting to the net. And you look at their stars, Kyle Connor and I love Kyle Connor. I really do. I think he's a great player, but I'm just not convinced he's a playoff player. Mark Scheifele is. Mark Scheifele's got that grind. He can win those battles along the wall. He can get to that hard. I think the Winnipeg Jets right now are overmatched against a Dallas Stars team that is looking extremely well, and their goaltender right now is rolling. And so I think the Dallas Stars have the upper hand in this, but we've seen the momentum. We talked about momentum. We've seen it change, and Winnipeg can win games. I still think Dallas gets through this series and is playing in the Western Finals.
Where do you stand on Hellebuck right now? Like, has he answered some of the questions carried over from the first round, or does he still have a little bit more to answer for?
We're talking about him for not Conn Smythe. We're talking about him, Hart Trophy MVP of the regular season. He hasn't played like that in the playoffs, period. And he has been better in the second round, without a doubt. I think the first round, winning that first round, I think the weight was lifted, and I think he's been better in the second round. I think he looks more like himself, but he's got to steal a game. And he's going to have to get in there. He's got to win the next game. And he has to do it. And it's got to be not Winnipeg wins the game and Hellebuck was shaky. Hellebuck stole that game. That's what I think the Winnipeg Jets need to see. If he can do that, if he can steal the next game on his shoulders, on his back, and he was the guy, now there's a different sense of belief in the locker room of the Winnipeg Jets. Now there's a belief that, oh, Hellebuck's back. That's the guy we need. And I do think then it starts to put doubt in the mind of the Dallas Stars. He has to win the game, not Winnipeg. Hellebuck has to win the game. He's been better, but he hasn't been the guy that earned a Hart Trophy and a Vezina Trophy nominee through the regular season.
Last one. What's your favorite city between Philadelphia, Boston, and Seattle?
I don't. What the hell is he doing? Like, first of all,
that was just about you.
What's your favorite city between?
Oh, I thought we were talking about Rick
geography
Tocchet.
talk.
I thought we were about Rick Tocchet and see if I was going along for a new job. But geography talk.
You're going to go along with Rick Tocchet for a new job? Well, I'll change
Philly,
the subject
Boston,
to that.
Philly, Boston, and Seattle. Those are my cities.
Yeah.
Is that what it was? Yeah. I'll take Philadelphia. I like Philly.
You think Rick Tocchet will? Because they're saying he might go there.
You know, it's funny. I think
unrelated.
The thing with Rick Tocchet, the unrelated thing with Rick Tocchet, and it's funny because he was the guy for the Seattle job the first time around, and I tell you, because I went through the process with him. I was there helping him with his coaching packet as he went into the Seattle interviews, and I was there with him, and he really thought he was going to get that job. And you didn't hear about Dave Haxtell, and Dave Haxtell comes in and gets that job at the last minute. I know he wanted to coach that team at that time, but you look at all the teams that are talking about Rick Tocchet. It's Pittsburgh, it's Boston, it was Anaheim for a quick second. He can go wherever he wants to. If I'm advising Rick Tocchet, and this is just me, go to Atlanta, get on TNT, work 1 day a week, cash the check and go. But the problem with these guys, they just want to coach. I don't know what's wrong with them. They're insane. And Dave Carl, buddy, the smartest move in hockey. 20 more years at Denver, he's going to rake it in. Brilliant. Rick Tocchet, I don't know. The one thing about Rick Tocchet, he wants to win. Rick Tocchet wants to win, and I'm not sure if any of these teams. No, I am sure they're not ready to win. None of them. And who's the closest? I still think Philly and Danny Briere. I think that team is closest to winning, but that's still years away. Unfortunately for you guys, I know big Boston supporters, I think Boston's a mess. I don't think they have any way out of this in the next year or two. And you saw the press conference there. That's a mess. I don't know if I want to jump in both feet with the Boston Bruins right now. And I feel similarly about Seattle. So if I'm Rick Tocchet, which I'm not, and I think the Philadelphia Flyers is the place to go. You would be a god if you could get that team into the playoffs.
Boston Bruins, great though. Yeah, it's weird we didn't hear much about Anaheim with Tocchet because he would have been a good. I think that ultimately
that's the best team.
Is a better hire than Tocchet would have been, but
we'll see. He hasn't coached in years. We'll see.
That's
the one thing
right.
About players evolve. Players evolve. Players today are not like players 3 years ago, players 4 years ago, players 10 years ago. They're different. You can't push the same buttons you pushed on Kane and Taves that you can with Troy Terry and Trevor Zegras. You can't. It doesn't work the same. They're not the same players. They don't want to see the same things. It's a different era of player right now. So saying Quenneville's the right fit there, I think is to be told. I think Quenneville's going to have to change. I don't think he can be a growly, grumpy guy. I don't think he can be that in Anaheim. I think he's, and maybe he won't be. Maybe sitting out took a step back from the game, and maybe he can be that positive influence and bring the hey rah stuff. And I think he's going to have to in Anaheim. Things have evolved. That is the best job. That was the best job out there. Was the Anaheim job. I think they gained 20 points. They're going in the right direction, and they have the better young players.
I also think that there's a certain element of like, okay, certain players don't want to be coached that way. Well, then they need to grow up and learn to be coached that way. That's how you win in this league. Yeah, things change, the game evolves, but you can't be like the childish kid in the locker room for your entire career and expect things to change when you're trying to shift as a team and shift your identity. And I feel like that's what the Ducks need. And we'll see if he brings it. But like, yep. I don't subscribe to like, you know, if they're not the right team for the coach, maybe the players need to change.
Yep. And that's fair. And I think you see that with a lot of these coaches right now. Like I heard somebody say John Tortorella, Chicago. Are you in your mind? John Tortorella would lose his marbles going to coach that team right now, knowing you have no chance to win. So I do believe there is some coach fit for a team, but I do think Quenneville's going to make this team better. I wasn't in love with Greg Cronin and the stories you hear from inside the room and what's going on with that organization. I think Quenneville will be better, and I think this team is going to be close to on the verge of a playoff spot next season.
Petey, you're the best, and I hate that you gave such further evidence of that as a result of what went down at the end of Game 3. But when that mess of shit unfolded, I thought of you after I had my next thought, which was I looked at the wall for a fucking hour and then thought about like, what does it feel like when you're dead? Like I was doing all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And then I thought Petey's breakdown of this is going to be so fucking good. And it's going to answer a lot of questions I have. And you did it. It was like 9 minutes long. And like this is why, among many other reasons, why you are so valuable to hockey and why everyone is tripping over themselves to have you on their show. If folks did not see it, we did a little condensed version of it just with some stills. But when there's a big thing that happens on the ice in hockey, Petey is the person who makes it make sense.
Can I ask this? Like after game 3, that finish, was it the most daunting project that you had in front of you, or was it so easy, the opposite end of the spectrum?
Great question.
Because it was all written out there for you.
It's hard. It's interesting because you see it. You want to see it objectively. First, I want to say that because I've been harassed a lot online of that. Everybody thinks I'm Canadian. Buddy, but I'm not. By the way, I'm an American. But it is hard.
Thinks I'm Canadian,
buddy.
Then the next word was buddy.
I mean, he's
not meeting the allegations.
Minnesotan. It's pretty close.
Yeah, Minnesota.
You have the same thing that Buffalo people get.
But you don't know. And what's funny in all these goals, nobody has the time to do this. You can't do this on TRT and ESPN. You don't have 5 minutes to break down one goal. You don't have time. But it just kind of presents itself. You start at the goal and you work backwards and you work back to the most significant play in this game. And for the Edmonton Oilers, the one thing about this goal specifically at the end of the game 3, at the 1 second in, there was 2 things I heard was Draisaitl knocking in and Skinner sucked. Those were the 2 things. But when you back this play up, it wasn't those 2 guys. It wasn't. Well, it was Draisaitl, but it wasn't there. Draisaitl's coming on the ice with 9 seconds. He jumps over the boards. He has got to think defense first, but he doesn't have that in his DNA. And he dives in and he puts himself behind the puck right off the bat. And that was the biggest mistake that created this entire goal, was Leon Draisaitl getting behind the puck. And then the next play that was another big one that people don't like to hear is when their hero and best player on the team, Connor McDavid, makes a mistake. People don't want to hear that. He was the 3rd player back in the zone. His responsibility is to take care of the middle of the ice and responsible for the front of the net. 2 defensemen have the 2 drivers going to the puck and behind the net. His job is to turn around and look and see what's coming. If he turns around and stops, play doesn't happen. But he doesn't. He follows the puck. And I'll say this, players follow the puck because it's hard not to when it's under 10 seconds. And he wasn't thinking about the system. He wanted the puck. He's Connor McDavid. He wasn't thinking, hey, I got to check for back checkers. No, dude wanted the puck. So you understand why they make mistakes. And it's so easy to slow these videos down to half a frame, 1 frame a second, and see, oh, you should have done this or that. And I'm not trying to be critical. I'm just trying to show you why they have practices, why they have systems, why they do video review, because it needs to be second nature. Oh, there's 2 guys, I got to turn. But it doesn't always work that way. So I don't want to be critical. I'm not saying you're an idiot player. Here's how they made the mistake, and here's why they made the mistake. And I think it's bringing hockey to a different level to fans that don't really get to see that. But it's not talking so expected goals and odd man rush percentages. It's not that. It's not that at all. It's here's what the game looks like when you slow it down, and here's what's happening on the ice.
I texted these guys on Sunday, and I was like, Petey posted his video explanation of the goal. It was fucking McDavid's fault. God damn it. This makes it. I didn't think I could feel worse. I thought I had a long enough list of people I was mad at, and I can be mad at Darnell Nurse, and I can be mad at Brett Kulak. Yeah. I've done that quite a bit over the years. I can be mad at Stu Skinner. I can even be mad at Leon Draisaitl. But when you then add the best player in the world to the list, it just breaks your heart. But Petey, this is why, like, you're the only person who does this. And everybody, make sure you're subscribed to his YouTube page, because yes, it's easy to just catch these on Twitter when we all retweet them, but the Inside the Coaches Room on YouTube, he is the absolute best. Petey, we love you.
Real quick, Petey, as somebody who spent 20 plus years with the Arizona Coyotes, how did you feel about Utah's draft luck or draft lottery luck?
Yeah, real quick, because I know you guys have to sell stuff to make money. I don't care. HK, like, who cares? Not my problem anymore. And people text me, oh, are you all mad? What the hell for? Team's gone. It's over. Like, I'm so over it. Like, people thought I'd be upset. What do you think of the new name? Who cares? HK. Don't care. By the way, have you taught these guys HK yet, Sean?
I don't know, not really. I don't use it as much without you around.
That's who cares?
Who cares?
Who cares is HK. There's a story. We'll do it someday. But no, I don't. Good for them. Good for Utah. I think they're building the team in the right way. I think they're going to be better. This is a team that's going to challenge for the playoff spots next year in the Western Conference.
Well, if you did care, at least the Utah Jazz lost the lottery. There's your,
I know,
there's
man.
There's your karma.
They got fucked so bad.
I love it, though.
Thanks, guys, for having me.
I could talk.
I want to say this. I appreciate you guys having me, you guys. I am an old man. I'm 60's closer than it is to 30, and I appreciate you guys letting me come on here and have a little bit of chaos. This is so much fun, and I love talking hockey like this. I don't need to be in. There's other shows that talk a different way, and I don't enjoy that. I enjoy talking hockey with you guys.
You're our
the best,
hero.
buddy.
We love you, man. Thanks so much,
Thanks,
Petey.
guys.
We'll talk to you soon.
Can't wait till next time. Next round. Can't wait.
Yes, hopefully.
yeah.
Later, buddy. We'll still have him on, even if the Oilers lose. I just won't be here.
I can't. When I saw the his breakdown of that Oilers goal, well, I guess VGK goal, I couldn't help but think about the years we spent in Arizona with Petey complaining about Karel Vejmelka being too far out of his crease, like moving too much, because that's what Stu Skinner ended up doing. But
That was there's a guy I follow on Twitter who writes about goalies for The Athletic. I don't know if like The Athletic employs
Is it Jesse Granger?
Jesse Granger.
He's the Vegas Golden Knights beat reporter, but also like a goalie guy.
He's like a goalie head.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So he posted something last night that was like interesting. The Golden Knights are trying to go 5-hole on Skinner. And I responded and I was like, what's the story there? Shouldn't they be trying to get him to move? When he tries to move,
Maybe they forgot who was in net.
I was seriously thinking that. I was like, are they just like a couple of days behind on the prep or whatever? But man, Utah Jazz got fucked last night. And obviously, this is my way of oddly dealing with a bigger basketball issue that is worse and I should be more upset about, but I'm just pretending didn't happen.
you can't say that the Utah Jazz got fucked after our conversation about the San Jose Sharks.
They didn't try tanking as hard as again.
Well, I guess we did see this team win a game
my
live.
Sharks thing. To re-summarize my Sharks thing, Sharks were a bad team who not only got rid of their UFAs, but they had young, like pieces, not quite foundational pieces, but building blocks, and they were just like, no, like have to get rid of
The
absolutely
Utah
everybody.
Jazz traded a multi-time defending defensive player of the year for a boatload of draft picks. They did
This
the same
year?
thing. No, but I'm saying it's part of this process. It's part of the tanking process.
Yeah, they probably and in the NBA that can have a years long effect versus
Famously,
what's that?
like the Celtics.
Oh yeah,
Well, I love that Nico Harrison gets to be like, told you guys, told you so. I'm
Off
a genius.
Pure luck.
Off pure luck.
Off
It's
pure luck.
the funniest fucking thing ever.
You know what's wild? Bill Simmons said, I don't know if he ended up doing this, but he said it just as like a throwaway thing on his podcast. He was like, you know what's going to happen now? I can see it now. Mavs are going to win the lottery. I'm gonna bet a future on the Mavs winning the lottery. And I don't know if he actually did that, but they had a 1.8% chance. Damn.
I also love that A, they get to replace a white boy with a white boy, and B, the city also got Paige Beckers. So they get Paige and Cooper Flagg in the same year, and that rocks.
And Cody Cece. That
And
was like
Cody
the
Cece.
like massive year for imports.
And
Speaking of
Miro
massive,
Heiskanen.
yeah, I was going to
He's back.
say Miro Heiskanen expected to play in Game 4 for Dallas.
Oh, word?
Word.
Damn. I mean, I said it. Must win of all must wins tonight for your Winnipeg Jets. If they don't win this, because they need to steal one on the road at some point anyway, but they are Toastville.
I would
They
agree
lose
with that.
tonight.
Yep.
I want the series to, as an Oilers person who hopes they make it to the next round, I need this series to go 7.
I'm excited for Stars Oilers.
I love this slate tonight. And I don't want to go out of order. We'll talk about the slate later, but I love the slate the next 2 days.
I love the slate tonight, and I will tell you why when we get to the slate grade.
Okay, first let's talk about the LA Kings making Ken Holland their next general manager. This man is 69 years young. You best know him for winning 4 Stanley Cups with the Detroit Red Wings in the 1700s. And after being kind of squeezed out, more kicked upstairs, but they wanted Yzerman to come in and take over. He goes to the Oilers, becomes GM, and I think president of hockey ops was the title. In Edmonton, his big moves, signed Zach Hyman, made like one of the best trades in the NHL in recent memory for my money in Tyson Barrie, first round pick. I forget the prospect they traded, but he was a first-round pick who became nothing. But they trade him for Matthias Ekholm, who is about to begin a 4-year deal. Just heavily franchise-affecting move. Also drafted Philip Broberg. Also drafted Dylan Holloway. That's the good. The bad, of course, in massive flashing lights, did not sign and extend Broberg and Holloway as their entry-level contracts were expiring. I overall do not love Ken Holland as a manager right now. How do you feel about him taking over the Kings?
Reed Schaefer, by the way, was the prospect.
Reed Schaefer, apologies to Reed Schaefer, and best of luck. He's still young.
Yeah, I don't know.
21.
Like Ken Holland is one of those guys where like you kind of have to take the good with the bad. Unfortunately, the bad usually, or at least like in these past 2 teams, has left a really sour taste in your mouth that lingers after he leaves. And that's why I kind of look at it and I'm saying like, I would be cool with bringing Ken Holland in like a shared role.
Like the Sabres tried to do.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable to me
But
that
like,
he turned down the Sabres and Islanders.
I would want him in a shared role with sharing the role with the person who is like making up for his losses. And I don't know if that would be the case in Buffalo.
That's probably fair.
Quick side note. Did I not say he signed Zach Hyman?
You did.
Okay, I meant to. Okay, someone in the chat said, don't forget Hyman. I never will as long as I live. I think about that guy so much. He's my buddy. I got the photo proof. Anyway, what do the Kings need?
That's what I was just about to say. Is like, is this kind of an okay place for Ken Holland? Because how much is he going to be able to fuck this up one way or the other?
They have $23 million in cap space. I want a good defenseman on that team very, very badly.
I'll tell you what, if you're hiring a guy who knows how to hurt the Oilers, Ken Holland's a pretty good place to start.
True, but here's my thing on Ken Holland, and I don't have any inside information on this. I think Ken Holland is and I will note that I'm not saying this is any sort of ageism. Ken Holland, I think, is like a sleepy old guy.
That's why I'm kind of surprised by this, is that I think that some of the stuff that happened at the end of his tenure in Edmonton was because he was like a checked out old man.
Right. Didn't it give you like doesn't love the job or like doesn't love working?
Yes, it was.
And maybe
it was kind of the Magic Johnson thing. It was like, I'm not going to be here. So
all-time clip.
I don't know if that's because he knew that he wasn't going to be in Edmonton or if he just didn't really care about holding the job all that much.
Do you remember a month or two into, it was like a month and a half maybe, or a month into the regular season last year, the biggest question we had every day, we were doing daily like trade watches on what are the Oilers going to do about their goaltending. And then he released Jack Campbell and he called up Calvin Pickard and we waited for what was next. And Stu Skinner was really good. And Calvin Pickard was a fine backup. And we were like, oh, genius. He didn't have to do anything. And he knew. And that's where our brains went. And then after some of the other shit I saw him do, I was like, oh, no, he just didn't do anything because he like forgot or didn't think about it. And it worked out.
Yeah. I mean, like, I kind of view him in the same way that like I view Don Sweeney, which is like he's good at certain parts of the job. But like there are other parts of the job that he just kind of either ignores or is very bad at. And to be a good GM, I think you need to have a hand in or be good at everything, or at least like hire people that make up for your weaknesses. And I think there's severe blind spots when it comes to Ken Holland.
Sabrina says that Ken Holland is the first boomer to quiet quit. Yeah, it kind of seemed like he quiet quit. And if I'm wrong, we have Oilers people who pay attention to us or whatever, and I'm sure they can reach out and say, oh, no, he actually did this, this, and this. But my read on the thing was like the last year of it. And he also, Henrique, good move. Who else they get the deadline? I mean, Henrique was the big piece, right? Henrique, they got Sam Carrick. Was there anybody else they got at the deadline last year? I can't remember. But he was good, as you said, at like parts of the job. He had some great deadline moves. Ekholm, amazing. But I blame the St. Louis offer sheet fiasco on Ken Holland. Now, it was told to us by Dylan Holloway that in July, the Oilers weren't telling him that he was going to play with Leon, and he just wanted to know, like, am I going to be a top 6, middle 6 guy? And they weren't really giving him any sort of indication that he was going to be a real guy with the team. So just horrible fucking job there. But ultimately, I think the biggest culprit of that was Ken Holland during the season when he didn't sign those guys. So I don't know how I feel if I am Troy Stetcher, of course, he got. I don't know how I'm feeling if I'm a Kings fan. I think generally I'm feeling terrible because Kings fans should feel terrible. I don't know why. I know that a lot of people were like, I thought this was the year. Why the fuck did you think this was the year? It wasn't the year, but
Could have been.
Was Nick
Got off to a
Bukestad
pretty good
last
start.
year or 2 years ago?
2 years ago. I
2 years ago, right?
Yeah.
You brought up the St. Louis Blues in their offer sheeting. They had quite the tweet, as we discussed before the show. They put out the RFA compensation levels, to which the Blues responded with
Perfect.
rubbing hands, aha.
Perfect.
Amazing
So
behavior.
good.
I agree. I thought it was hilarious.
Can we say, while we're acknowledging great behavior that would hurt the feelings of Oilers fans, I need to give a shout out to my guy Aiden Hill for it didn't feel good in the moment because it hurt my team, but Aiden Hill conjuring up a penalty out of thin air when Janmark's skating by, he sticks his leg out and then falls down. Look, it's illegal, but you're not supposed to do this. But if in the playoffs you can just make up a power play, that is a tidy bit of work. I tip my cap.
I mean, he got a couple bullshit penalties. The Vander Kane penalty, the charging.
That one was just horrible officiating. I understand the Janmark one.
It wasn't. Yeah, okay.
It was subtle. You can't.
And it wasn't really Aiden Hill's doing to get that penalty on Kane.
Right.
just bad officiating.
But Aiden Hill did some shit, took a risk. It paid off. It was Chris Kelly-esque. The type of just like, you know what? You wouldn't know what to look at that guy, but that guy's a fucking bit of a shit. So good work there. Gotta calm down, though. Drinking too much coffee. He's a coffee head. He had way too much of it last night.
Maybe somebody spit in his coffee beans last night.
Who pissed in your coffee beans?
While we're talking about tweets. Oh, boy. The Florida Panthers, their minority owner, Doug Cifu.
Yep.
Doug Cifu. Doug Cifu.
He's on the seafood diet.
Was suspended by the NHL for unacceptable and inappropriate social media posts. And you're saying, what would be unacceptable and inappropriate for an NHL owner to get suspended over? Sean, do we have the tweets? Oh, we sure do.
Yeah, so he was fighting with a Leafs fan on Twitter after Game 4, and the handle you're looking for here is at Dougie Large. That is the Panthers minority owner Doug Cifu's Twitter handle.
Well,
Dougie Large.
If you're looking for it now, don't bother
gone.
because he deactivated his account.
But also being a billionaire and making your Twitter handle Dougie Large is the funniest thing ever.
No, I think that's
even
so
if he's a
cool.
piece of shit.
That what?
I said it's the funniest thing ever, even if he's a piece of shit.
Oh, yes. Okay.
I thought you
Yeah.
said
Yeah.
he is a piece of shit because his
Oh,
Twitter
no,
handle's
no.
name is Dougie Large.
Okay, so this Leafs fan was fucking with him, which, whatever. They did not do the worst thing here. Said, hey, what's worse, using headshots to win a series or using starvation to win a war? That, of course, is invoking the Israel-Palestine conflict. And Cifu tweeted at this person, eat shit, 51st state, anti-Semite loser, Israel now and forever, until ever, they mean every, last Hamas rat is eliminated.
You skipped a couple of steps.
There are
multiple tweets.
Right. The home run is the eat shit 51st state anti-Semite loser. Israel now and forever, says Dougie Large, until ever last Hamas rat is eliminated. Dougie Large got a few notes here. One is you just got to stay out of the whole war thing.
You gotta stay out of the Twitter thing. You're a fucking billionaire. Get the fuck off the internet.
I mean, if you just said like eat shit loser, then we would say
awesome.
Panthers minority owner Doug Cifu is
Cool
one
as
to
shit.
watch.
Hero.
We're gonna say we're
he's
now
cool as shit.
following one. We're keeping an eye on this guy's tweets during games. Maybe if he sells his team and Michael Andlauer sells the Senators, maybe they can shack up, they can link up and have some group that buys a team that will then become our favorite team. That would be cool. However, you go MAGA, you go Israel-Palestine conflict, and I know that he didn't bring it up, but just stay out of that, man.
I mean, the funniest, or maybe the least funny part of all of this is I feel like he got suspended because he called Canada the 51st state. I think that is what did it, considering the sport, the markets, all of that.
Yeah, the MAGA part is
I don't think that gets people
unsurprising.
suspended.
I will say this is wholly embarrassing. This is humiliating stuff.
However, I feel like you boys have not been looking at your hockey stats, because the Florida Panthers are undefeated in series in which one of their guys gets suspended.
That is true, but I think there's a cap on what Aaron Ekblad can lose when suspended by the NHL.
Yes.
Doug Cifu might this might result in him having to sell his stake in the team.
Yeah.
Which that is humiliating stuff.
I mean, you gotta
because you
gotta know your place.
You couldn't turn another eye to a Toronto Maple Leafs loser on Twitter. You had to respond and be an absolute bozo. Somebody in the chat said that's a cocaine-fueled tweet for sure.
Yeah, and that's what I was saying. Like, do you know how badly you need to fuck up as a MAGA guy in Florida to go MAGA Florida and lose your job? Like, they're like, oh yeah, like we all think that stuff. We just don't.
It's in the midst of what could be another Panthers Cup run.
Yeah, like that's what I'm saying. Like
suspended means
outside
he can't go
of
to
the
the
fact
games.
that all of his takes are fucking stupid, you just don't need to say any of it. Like, you could just stay out of the way. Do it in the summer after your parade.
Does this make anybody change their thoughts and or allegiances in this series? I do want. I've been like on and just pro Maple Leafs this postseason,
It's
which
made me so uncomfortable.
is the first time it's ever. I have always been so automatic
Same.
in no matter what you have to lose, and
Yeah.
I laugh every time.
Yeah, same.
Not like this one does, but
I mean, I feel like I've been very much like Pete up until this year, and maybe it's because they started against the only team I hate more than the Leafs and the Senators, and I love Nyes and Matthews as Arizona boys. It feels very weird. I do find myself kind of wanting them to succeed a little bit.
I like those guys too, but I'm not going to ever root for them to find happiness wearing that jersey, at least not in a meaningful way.
Plus, I have also said multiple times that the funniest possible outcome for the Toronto Maple Leafs is them blowing a lead in the cup. Like, if they allow the Oilers especially to do what they tried to do last year and come back from being 3 down in the Stanley Cup, peak comedy in my opinion.
well, I'll tell you what. Tomorrow night, Game 5, must win for the Leafs, and I will admit I am rooting for the Leafs in that game. I want it to be 3-2. No matter what you want to have happen in this series, you should want it to be 3-2 Leafs.
No.
You don't want to see them get to a Game 7.
Right.
You don't want to see them lose
Because they are
7.
losing Game 6.
No, I don't. I want to see them lose 4 games in a row. I
Oh,
want to see
yeah, that's pretty good.
I want to see them take a 2-0 series lead, and I want to see them lose 4 games in a row, and I want to see it progressively get worse with each game.
So
Yeah, that's fair.
even if you're guaranteed a Game 7 loss, you think the 4 losses
Yes.
in a row is
Yeah. I think it is the biggest, like a Game 7. You could say we took the Florida Panthers to 7 games.
Yeah,
If they take a 2-0 series lead and then get their fucking lunch shoved down their throat by the Panthers for 4 straight games.
my only thing is like if they've lost 3 games in a row, then it's like, okay, they're gonna lose Game 4. If you get to Game 7, Leafs fans are gonna convince themselves that they're gonna win Game 7. And the collapse is going to be that much more entertaining. If you get to Game 6 and it's going to be their 4th straight loss, even though Toronto fans are a little delusional, I think they're going to be a lot quieter leading into that game.
Sean, hit me with the slate. It's a good one. I love this slate. Uno, Jets at Stars, Game 4, 8 p.m. Eastern in the United States and Canada. That one is on ESPN. We got the logos reversed. This is a big one for the Jets. Like, this season is on the line. They have to win this game.
Yeah, it's a must win. It's a must win for sure.
Miro Heiskanen back?
Yeah, it seems like it. I also agree with Petey. Like, I think that in order to feel good about the Jets, they need to play a good game, but you need to see Connor Hellebuck be like a god tonight. I really think you need to see it. That would give me some faith in Winnipeg being like, maybe.
Yes.
But like, even if Winnipeg wins this game, I'm still gonna feel most likely like it's heavily skewed in Dallas's favor.
If Hellebuck goes stew mode, we have such a series.
No, that means we already deciphered that stew mode, the best stew mode is incomplete.
Yeah.
I think you need a complete set of data on Connor Hellebuck, and that data needs to say he is back. He is the best goalie in the world.
If he has good performance tonight and then he's going back home, I think Dallas is winning this series. I just want it to be a long one, but it can be a long one if that happens.
Obviously, stuff can happen in this series. Do you think there's any chance or not? There's obviously a chance.
Do you think there's a chance we get a Dallas?
No, Ottinger's taken the net for Team USA from Hellebuck at this point.
I don't know, man. Like, I don't think that's set in stone.
Yeah,
I don't think it's set in stone.
Like
There's obviously a long way to go, but I feel like right now you have to say that Otter is the. You don't have to, in my opinion. Otter is the best.
No, if you asked me like a week ago, I would have said, yeah, it's absolutely Otter's. But like, Hellebuck has bounced back at least to a certain degree.
Yeah, but he hasn't been better than Otter.
No, I don't think so.
Everybody who's watching, make sure you've pressed subscribe. Please press subscribe on the YouTube. Please subscribe on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your stuff, and also on the Instagram. We want to get those Instagram numbers up, so find it there. We share our own stuff. We also share stuff from What Chaos Memes, which is a fun fan-run account who makes little memes based on whatever we do on the show. I will say I understand 60% of them. And I think that I would guess the audience understands 100% of them. I only understand 60% of them, and that's exactly how I want it. There's also a Discord that is similar, where I think you'll probably get it. I won't understand most of what is going on, but I'm an old guy.
There's a lot happening in the Discord, and you can find the link below in the video description. That place is going 24/7.
Really?
The Discord. Yeah, the Discord is humming all the time.
I cleaned up my computer and like reset everything, so I don't know how to log back in. I'll never be there again.
One of the most recent posts is a meme from Ambassador to Greece, and it's a picture of Stu Skinner over a picture of Humpty Dumpty, which was on the original meme, and it said, "I had someone tell me I fell off. Ooh, I needed that." Reference to the Drake song.
Yeah, there's some fucking crazy shit that happens in the Discord. So go ahead and join there. Go ahead and also like this video and leave a comment on this video. All of it helps the algorithm. All of it boosts us up. It amplifies us. And we want to be amplified. We're going to amplify the bad boys of podcasting. That's what they're saying.
Yes.
Spike and like this episode. Any support that you can give us, we very much appreciate it.
Yeah, we should do that. A call to amplify. Okay? Everything that you see, amplify it. And then tomorrow in the chat, at the beginning, say, I amplified. So I amplified this.
That's right.
It's a little badge of honor for you. Thank you to Steve Peters. He's the best. We got a loaded show tomorrow as well. Or if this one goes to OT, I will take this one going to OT tonight. A 1-game slate. I love it so much. And it's a big one. Lot riding on it.
I forgot to tell you.
Yes?
Forgot to tell you why I like this slate so much is because I've been looking for an opening to start my annual Mission Impossible marathon rewatch. And what a better time than like, a week and a half before Mission Impossible, The Final Reckoning comes out. I'm going to watch all the Mission Impossible movies over like the next week and a half. And it's going to start tonight because there's only one hockey game on TV. So A slate from me.
Amazing. All right. Talk to you tomorrow. Bye.
We all silly like the mayor.